By the Call of Midnight, Part 4, by HURST. It was New Year's Eve, and my aunt and I were dressed in our best costumes. My aunt was dressed in a dress that was her great-grandmother's. It made her little figure look like a butterfly. Her mask was large and bright, shiny blue. You could see her magnificent blue eyes under her mascara. She wore deep red rouge, and it all made her look 20 years younger. She really was beautiful for her age. I, of course, was in my green dress. The mask, one in which you held in your hand, I felt mysterious holding it. I wasn't very mysterious, though. When Jason came to pick us up, he knew immediately that it was me. Georgiana had made sure I invited him. We rode in the carriage. My aunt spoke of her younger days. We sat in the warmth of the carriage while the driver rode outside of us. The thought gave me a chill, for it was snowing again. There must have been more than a foot of snow. When we got to the Belhurst Drive, I was surprised to see how many people Mr. Belhurst knew. Jason stared at me lovingly as he helped me out. My green cloak wrapped around my head as he held me close to him. When we reached the doorstep, Dawson let us in. "Hello, ma'am," he said to me, smiling. "Hello, Dawson. Please take our coats," I said, smiling. We went in, and I saw Georgiana. She came running over to me. "Oh, I'm so happy you decided to come. Please come with me. I want you to meet some of my other friends. They could never meet up to you, though. They're really just acquaintances. Stuffy old snobs, you know." I went with her. Jason was eyeing me and smiling. Georgiana led me down the hall. Many people were all talking to Aunt Lacey in the parlor, and Jason stayed with her as she led me down the hall. We passed the ballroom. "Where are you taking me?" "Shh! The gallery." "Whatever for?" I asked. As we entered, those eyes in the wall of Michael glared through me. All pictures of him and Andrew. "I lied about you meeting people. You'll do that enough here tonight. I wanted to tell you Michael is back again. I just didn't want to say it in front of Jason. I heard what happened with you and my father-in-law." "What do you mean? How?" "The maids overheard it, and I heard them talking in the parlor. So, it's really that bad?" "Yes. Please tell me all you know about Michael. Where does he go? Why all the mystery around him?" "Well, perhaps you should ask him," she said reluctantly, looking towards the door. "No, I already have. Please tell me. What has he done?" "Sit down, Audrey." I sat down and listened. "Well, it started when Michael was born. His mother was traveling in Yorkshire. Henry wasn't with her. She went into labor, and she had relatives there, however, so she had the driver take her to her sister's. There, she had Michael. On her way back, she rode with Michael. When they reached the Belhurst home, she gave Dawson Michael. She then went straight into her room. It was there that day they found the strangled girl. I have no idea if you know the story. The strangled girl. Yes, I've heard it. Some maids were talking about it at my aunt's. She had to have seen Mr. Belhurst. Henry. Well, she had, as you say, been to see Henry. Her name was Isabella Devonshire. She was Henry's first love. She never forgot him. She was married at the time. She came to visit. It's told that Michael's mother found out she was there and went to her room demanding to know why she was staying there with them. The two women got into an argument. Then, when Elizabeth, that's Michael's mother, left, Isabel came rushing out of the room. She fell on some stairs. Around her neck was a long pearl necklace. It wrapped around one of the stair posts as she fell, and choked and killed her instantly. When Elizabeth found out the whole story, she never forgave herself. She stayed confined to her room, convinced that she killed Isabella. Henry was beside himself. When Elizabeth died, he wanted to make sure that no such scandal ever touched the Belhurst family again. She was born in France. You know, his moods of depression are usually from when he goes to see her at her grave. He goes often. His mother's family came from a very long line of landowners. He owns all of the La Fleur land. His mother's maiden name, that is. He remembers how she stayed confined to her room, even after all those years. As a child, he remembers this. She never played with toys when they were children. It's always brought the nightmare of that day back to Michael every time he goes to France. Oh, it's all very sad. I can see why he's the way he is. Where in France is it? Dijon. Really? Oh, that's where I went to school. But what about Michael's obsession with wolves? Where's that from? Oh, laughed Georgiana. When Michael was a child, he went hunting with Henry and Andrew. While they were asleep, a pack of wolves attacked the camp for food, and one wolf bit Michael. I don't know why, but Michael had nightmares soon afterwards. He feared everything. He wouldn't go near anyone. So to make a man out of him, Henry stole 3 baby pups from a mother wolf in her den while the pack was out hunting for food. He made Michael raise them over, basically to overcome his fears. It worked, and to this day they're his favorite animal, I guess you could say. He seems to understand them as well as he. It's as if they share the same soul. Soon after we left, and I returned to the ballroom, Jason was there waiting for me. As Henry watched us, Jason turned to me. "Would you like to dance, my dear?" Well, yes, I would. We danced, and then we danced some more. It was wonderful. I kept looking for Michael, but I didn't see him anywhere. As Jason swung me around the dance floor, I stopped enjoying myself. All at once, I didn't want to know where, but I felt those eyes going through me. I looked up by the balcony, and there he stood. I gasped for air. What a position I was in. Why hadn't I seen him before? I saw him walk towards us. He grew nearer to us. Then as he passed us, my heart beat wildly. "What's wrong?" Jason asked. "Oh, nothing," I laughed. Jason hugged his neck with mine, and the waltz began. He continued dancing, and I noticed Michael was dancing with someone else. My heart gave a great slump. She had raven hair all above her head. She was gorgeous. Tall and slender. Her eyes were big and brown. Her skin was olive. I looked at my reflection in the glass window next to us. My auburn hair couldn't match anyone's here. Raven hair was so boring. Even if she was pretty, didn't he think I was? I knew Henry would just pounce on this. After all, he wanted his son to settle down, but not with me. He must have thought I was some common hussy. I'd show them all. As I held my mask up to my face, I watched everything around me. Then very suddenly I let out a bold laugh. Oh, I was going to have such fun. Jason then laughed too, which was good. I felt Michael's eyes on me quickly. Then I saw him lean in her ear, and she began to giggle. Henry looked pleased, and I saw him wave to her as she went dancing with him. I cringed. What I wanted to do to that man. After all, Michael left, and that's why I got engaged. For what I felt, I was being punished. When the music stopped, I broke away from Jason, and we walked over to the punch bowl, and Jason sat down. I sat on the other side next to Henry Belhurst, and Jason excused himself. He went out of the room. He said he thought he saw someone he knew. "Lovely evening, isn't it?" asked Henry as he leaned over to me. "Oh, yes, I suppose." "Please, Miss Yorkshire, I wasn't quite myself today. I want you to excuse me for my rude behavior. My son explained everything." He did? Oh, well, what did he say?" "He said that you two were indeed just friends." "Oh, and that's fine with you then. I mean, you can see I'm with Jason." "Yes, it's all clear now. I believe your side of the story. My son is also getting married. Forgive me. I misjudged you." "Oh." I felt my heart sink. Everything really was a joke to Michael. He was getting married? But to whom? I had to know. "Oh, well, that's wonderful, but to whom will he be wed?" "Oh, that's obvious. He's only danced with one woman all night. Her name is Lucinda Marsh." "Oh, I'll have to congratulate him then." "Yes." Just then a man in a blue suit came over and asked me if I wanted to dance. I wasn't paying any attention to whom it was. I just simply said yes. I needed to get away, even with a stranger. The man then took his mask off. I still had mine planted on my face. "Are you surprised and yet terribly happy to see me?" I gasped. It was Michael. "No," I said, looking away. "Why not? Most people are happy to see me." I looked back at Henry. He wasn't paying any attention to us. "Oh, I heard all about your little escapade. Who is she?" I asked rather coolly. "What are you talking about, my sweet?" "Don't call me that, you fool. I'm talking about your engagement." "Oh, that," he laughed. "That's a little matter I thought we cleared up the night I found you half dead in the woods. Yet, you know, here I am, watching you dance with Jason, still engaged. So I decided to dance with someone else. Did you see? Were you jealous, my sweet?" He laughed. "You avoided my question. Who were you marrying?" "You." "What?" "Yes, just as soon as you get rid of that schoolboy." I felt my legs sink and my body collapse under his gaze. I broke away from him now and ran out of the ballroom. I ran straight into Jason. "Dear, you're never going to guess who I just saw in one of the parlors, but it was one of my professors. He knows Henry Bell." I ran away from him. I was upset and confused. I ran all the way outside without my coat. I was living in a dream. Then I heard footsteps. I ran and went out to the gardens. All the plants were dead. I sat on a bench and felt like an iceberg. My face was white, my eyes were red. I was dripping with tears. Then Jason came up behind me with a coat. "What's wrong?" He yelled, worried and agitated with me. "Why do you have to worry so much about me?" "Because I love you." "There's something I must tell you." "What is it?" he asked, putting away the heavy coat and he wrapping it around me. "I don't mean to hurt you, but I can't marry you." "Why?" he asked, crushed. I don't know that really, not even to myself. Yet all I know is I'm just not ready for anyone." He sat down next to me and looked at me disbelievingly. I turned away from his gaze. It hurt me to see him this way. Perhaps I should just say I lost my head for a moment. No, I knew I didn't want to marry him. "Is there someone else?" he asked quite timidly for being just dumped by someone he had loved. "Why do you ask that?" I asked him, quite worried that he might know just a little too much. "It's all so sudden." "Yes, I know, but Couldn't we just go on as any of this never happened? I asked. Perhaps if what? Never mind. We'll never be the same. Not the way I feel about you. I can't place this. Don't try it. It's just how it has to be. Why? I'd be a misery to you. You, a misery? Please reconsider. I said I couldn't. He left me and went back to the ballroom. I soon got up and walked back across the garden. I never thought I'd feel so relieved. I thought it should be a painful thing, yet it was like a secret I had kept off all these years, and now it was out, kind of like a weight being lifted. I went up the stairs that led all the way to the balcony. Michael had found me and was waiting near the top of them. Well, are you rid of the dependent schoolboy? He asked, smiling cockily. How dare you? You must be ashamed for thinking I enjoyed that. I knew it would come sooner or later. What does it all mean to you anyway? It should mean everything when we're married. Married? You live in a fantasy world. Why on earth would I marry you? Because I love you. And you want me. Don't you think I see the way you look at me? You're crazy. Besides, shouldn't you ask for my hand first? Why? When we've already taken care of that. You did meet me that night to tell me how you felt, and you loved me. Oh, I do detest you. It wasn't at all like that. I was going to tell you quite the opposite. Oh, I doubt that. I mean, I don't think that when you looked at me the first day that we met that you detested me. And I don't think you do now. What? Don't play sweet little innocent. I know the craving you have to feel me against you. I love you. And you love me. Let's get it over with. Marry me. But your father. My father? What are you talking about? He asked, still holding me tightly now by the shoulders. He asked me to see him one afternoon. He told me that he wanted you to settle down with someone, but not me because I was engaged. He told me our relationship was unfit, even though I explained we were only friends. Tonight he told me you were engaged to that woman, the one that you were dancing with. He thinks I'd cause you all a scandal. I felt like laughing. I'm the last person who would want to cause a scandal, I said, pressing out with everything. You leave my father to me. We'll settle this. He pulled me closer to him. We broke apart suddenly. There was someone behind the bushes, listening to our every word. Who's there? Asked Michael. No one answered. Probably servants. They can be a real problem, I said. There you are. There's only 5 minutes until the masks come off. It was my aunt, Georgiana, and she was with me, and she grabbed me off to one side. Tell me all that happened, she said, smiling. We went back in, and everyone counted down until the last minute. Then we all yelled Happy New Year. I was rather unpleased by all the prospects the new year brought. Michael had a crazy notion I was going to marry him. Suddenly, as everyone ripped their masks off, someone grabbed me from behind and pulled me against them, swung me around and kissed me hard and fast. Before I could even see who it was, they were done. When I looked up, Michael was in front of me, cockily smiling. Well, well, well. I better stop before we make a scene, he laughed. His eyes were glazing with mischief. Then I was let go, and he walked toward the punch bowl, picked up a glass and held it up as if to say Happy New Year's. I soon left. We rode home with Jason. All of us were quiet. He looked mad and yet grave.